Welcome back to my channel. I'm Heather Corinne, and today we're going to be crocheting these adorable gingerbread man cuddlers or loveys. This video is designed to go along with the written pattern that can be found on my blog as well as my Etsy shop. I'll post a link to both of those down below, as well as a list of all the materials we'll be using, such as hook size and yarn colors, etc. Please feel free to pause at any time during the video so that you can crochet at your own pace. And let's get started on these adorable little gingerbread men. So we'll begin working on the first leg using our brown yarn, and we're just going to create a slip knot for our hook. Make sure to leave a long enough tail on the front end so that you can weave in at the end, and we're going to chain 4 chain stitches. For row 1, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across, so that's going to be 3 single crochet. So that's 2 and the 3rd single crochet, and at the end of every row we're going to chain 1 and turn. Row 2, we're going to increase. So a single crochet increase is just 2 single crochet in the same stitch. So there's 1 and 2. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So that's going to be a total of 4 stitches for row 2. Rows 3 and 4, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that's 4 stitches per row, rows 3 and 4. Row 5 is where it gets fun. We're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that's the 4 single crochet in what we've already created. 3, 4. And then we're going to chain 7 chain stitches. This is going to allow us to work on the torso and leave room for the second leg. So here's our 7 chain stitches. And moving on to row 6, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across, going down those chain stitches that we just created. So it's going to be a total of 10 stitches for row 6. We're working down this chain that we created, which should be 6 stitches into the chain. And then 4 stitches into the base of the leg that we were already working on. So just want to make sure that it is turned. It almost turns in a twisty way. Just make sure that we're single crocheting directly into that last row from row 5. So that's 2, 3, and 4 into the leg portion. So a total of 10 for row 6. So just make sure that your stitch count is correct all the way across. Now we'll be able to start working on the torso and the second leg. We'll have space for that at the end. For rows 7, 8, and 9, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that's a total of 10 stitches per row, rows 7, 8, and 9, and I'll meet you back at the end of row 9. Here we are at the end of row 9. We're going to start working on row 10. So we're going to decrease in the first stitch. So we're going to pull up a loop, insert the hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So that's a single crochet decrease. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 8 stitches of this row. It's going to bring us to a total of 9 stitches for row 10. For row 11, we're going to decrease. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 7 stitches. That's going to give us a total of 8 stitches for row 11. For row 12, we're going to decrease at the beginning and the end. So here is our first decrease. We're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then decrease again at the end of this row. That's going to give us a total of 6 stitches for row 12. This sort of finishes our torso, so now we're going to start working on the head. So for row 13, we're going to increase, so that's 2 single crochet in the same stitch. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And we're going to increase again in that last stitch. So that's going to be a total of 8 stitches for row 13. For row 14, we're going to increase at the beginning and the end again. So that's going to be 2 single crochet in this first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 6 stitches, and then we're going to increase one more time at the end, and that's going to be 10 total stitches for row 14. Row 15, we're going to increase again at the beginning and the end. It's going to be our last row of increasing. So we've got 2 single crochet in this first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 8 stitches, and then we'll increase one last time in that last stitch. We'll place 2 more in that last stitch. That's going to be a total of 12 stitches for row 15. For rows 16, 17, and 18, we're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So that's going to be a total of 12 stitches per row. I'll meet you back at the end of row 18. So 16, 17, and 18, single crochet in each stitch. Here we are at the end of row 18. We're going to start decreasing to finish off the head portion. So row 19, we're going to decrease the beginning and the end. So here's our first decrease. We're going to single crochet in the next 8 stitches. And then we'll decrease one more time at the end here. So that's going to be a total of 10 stitches for row 19. For row 20, we're going to decrease at the beginning and end again. Here's our first decrease. And we're going to single crochet in the next 6 stitches. And then decrease that last time. That's going to be a total of 8 stitches for row 20. Row 21, we're going to decrease at the beginning and end. So here's our first decrease. And we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And decrease at the end. That's going to be a total of 6 stitches for row 21. Row 22 is our last row. We're going to decrease at the beginning and end again. So here's our first decrease. We're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches and then decrease one last time for a total of 4 stitches for row 22. After that chain 1, we're going to tie off with a long enough tail to weave in our ends. So here we finished the first small piece of our project. We will weave in the ends and then we'll start working on that second leg. So here's our handy dandy tapestry needle. We're just going to thread one of the ends onto the tapestry needle. I'm going to work it down a couple stitches just to make everything nice and seamless. And then we're going to run it through maybe 4 or 5 stitches in one direction. We'll turn it and skip 1 stitch and go back down through those same stitches in the other direction. And that just really secures these ends so that they're not going to come unraveled or start sticking out after we finish our project. So we're gonna snip that off. And that's how I like to weave in my ends. So anytime I say I'm weaving in ends in the rest of this video, that's what we're gonna be doing. Here we are ready to start on the second leg. I have a slip knot on my hook with a long enough tail at the beginning. We've got our gingerbread man upside down and we're going to insert into the far right side over here and single crochet. So I'm going to pull up that working yarn and single crochet. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So that's going to be a total of 4 stitches across the bottom here for our second leg. Here's the 4th. We're going to chain 1 and turn the work around. And then in the next 3 rows, so rows 2, 3, and 4, we're just going to single crochet in each stitch across to work on the base of that leg. So rows 2, 3, and 4, single crochet in each stitch, 4 stitches per row. For our last row, row 5, we're going to decrease 1 time and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So that's going to be a total of 3 stitches for row 5. Chain 1 and tie off with a long enough tail to weave in our ends. And that completes our second leg. I'm going to weave these in real quick. Here we are ready to work on the arms. We've got a slip knot on our hook. Right below the neck indent, we're going to join to the torso and we're going to single crochet in 4 stitches to create the base of this arm. So right here, sorry my hand's in the way, we're going to single crochet in that stitch right below the neck indent. 2, 3, and 4. So that begins our arm. Chain 1 and turn, and for row 2 we're going to single crochet in each stitch across as well, 4 stitches for row 2. Row 3, we're going to decrease 1 time at the beginning here. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. That's going to be a total of 3 stitches for row 3. Row 4 is our last row. We're going to decrease 1 more time. and then single crochet in that last stitch for a total of 2 stitches for row 4. So we'll trim the yarn long enough to weave in, and then we'll go and add our second arm in the exact same way. So we're going to flip the work over and join right below the neck indent for the other side and weave in these ends. Here we are with both sides of our gingerbread man completed. We're going to move on to adding the frosting portion. So we're going to have a long piece of white yarn and we're just going to thread it onto our tapestry needle. And we're going to create some little zigzag stitches across the arms, legs, and across the forehead to give him or her some frosting. So I'm just going to insert the hook through the back side towards the top, leaving a long enough tail on the back, and create a zigzag pattern across one row. So one little stitch here, and then up through the back side and back through the top of that previous stitch to create some zigzags. Now that we have our zigzags, we're going to flip over the project and tie off gently on the back side. Just a simple little double knot. And then I'm going to snip off the excess yarn. And that's how we're going to complete the zigzags on the other arm and the legs, and then a row across the forehead. I chose to add the frosting on the front and back panels, but you could just do the front if that's what you prefer. Here we are with our frosting completed, looking nice and yummy. So now we're going to add the safety eyes. You can eyeball per se where these safety eyes are going to go, but my placement is counted down from the top between the 6th and 7th row. So I'm counting down to the 6th and 7th row, and then approximately 3 stitches from the outside is where the eye placement is going to go. So now we'll count down on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So between the 6th and 7th row, 3 stitches from the outside. And as I pop this one in, I notice that the right eye is off a little. So I'm going to drop it down another row so that they match. Now all we have to do is pop on the safety backs. I'll link these safety eyes on Amazon down below in the description for you. These are my favorite ones. And now our gingerbread man has cute little eyes. So we're going to work on the mouth. We're just taking a piece of black yarn and our tapestry needle, and we're going to create a semicircle, or capital letter V is what I like to explain it. So right below, we're going to insert through the back and down through the center. Getting all twisted. So that's one stitch of one side of the mouth. We're going to come back up through the other side and back down through the center. So it's a wide capital letter V that's not pulled too tight so that it curves into a cute little semicircle. So flip it over and tie off gently on the back side. Don't want to pull too tight. and then trim off this excess yarn. And now we have a cute little smiley face on our gingerbread man. Moving on to the buttons, we're going to create a magic circle with your button color of choice. And we're going to single crochet 4 stitches into our magic circle. 3 and 4. We're going to pull this loose end tight to cinch up our circle. And then we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch that we placed into the magic circle. So we're going to insert the hook and slip stitch. And that completes our tiny little button. We're going to tie off with a long enough tail to attach it to our project. And I'm just going to pull through without chaining one to keep the perfect circle. And that is our tiny little button. We're going to need 2 of these. Once we have our 2 little buttons created, we're going to attach them to the front panel of our gingerbread man using a tapestry needle. I made hot pink buttons for my niece, and we've got some bright blue ones for my nephew. Those are the colors that they like. And I also wanted them to be able to tell their gingerbread men apart. So once we've placed the button exactly where we want it, we're just going to run one of these tails through, back and forth through the top and the bottom, attaching it to the front panel of our gingerbread man. We're going to use the second tail in just a moment, so don't worry about that one. Just putting 1 stitch in each stitch around, so it's like maybe 4 or 5 stitches. So we're going to pull through that tail and set it aside for now, and then run the second tail through those same stitches just to make sure that it's nice and secure and it's not going to come off while little ones are playing with it. So we're going back through those same stitches, and we're going to tie off on the back side now that it's nice and secure. So a simple little double knot, and then we're going to snip off the excess yarn. And now we'll attach the second button in the same way. And we're ready to join our project together. So make sure we have the correct sides facing outward. We're going to line up the front and back panels and begin joining them together. So we just want to make sure that the stitches are exactly in the same spot on the front and the back. And we're going to start in this top left corner at the top of the left arm. We've got a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to insert it through both the front and back panel and single crochet, and continue to single crochet down around both sides to create the join. There are a couple of exceptions to single crocheting, so bear with me a moment and I will show you where those are going to be. So at every corner per se, we're going to slip stitch instead of single crochet. So here's our first corner. We slip stitch, and then we're going to continue single crocheting around. So the corners are going to technically be classified as over and under both of the arm creases, or like the armpit and the shoulder, and then in between the legs down at the bottom. That just gives it a nice little turn instead of making it rounded. So we're going to continue single crocheting until we reach the center. So we're going to have the slip stitches here and here and here and here. We're going to pause when we get to the top right side of the arm so that we can add our stuffing. So here we are, we have single crocheted all the way around the edges, and we're going to pause right here before we finish joining the head, and we're going to add our stuffing to our desired fullness. Once we've stuffed the body as much as we'd like, we're going to pick back up where we left off and finish the join. Do make sure to add some stuffing to the head portion right before completing this round of seaming it together. So here we are at the end of our round of joining. We have slip stitch into that corner, so now we're going to chain one and tie off with a long enough tail to weave in these ends. So we've snipped it off and we're going to pull through, and that completes our adorable little gingerbread man, except for weaving in these last little ends. So we're going to take our tapestry needle and weave in exactly in the same way that we did when we were creating the front and back panels. It's just now that it's a full 3D stuffed animal, we're going to run it through to the back side so that the front looks nice and clean, and then run the yarn through several stitches, skipping one and coming back through the other side just like we did before. We're going to snip off the excess, and that completes weaving in these tails. We'll weave in the second one and be done. So here we have our adorable finished crochet gingerbread man. I hope you've enjoyed creating this project with me. Next, I'm going to join together the second one that I have made for my nephew with the blue buttons over here. So I got my front and back panels ready. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already, so that you see all of my new projects when I release them. You'll be happy to know that I've ordered a new camera stand so that I can video from a front-facing angle. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me through my amateur video process as we get better and better. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon with a new fun project.